What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Unpolished. It's been a little bit. Me and Alex have been kind of messing with the studio. We've been playing with some guests, but today we got my man Josh, my long lost brother, what I called you on the Less Polished. Many people have been telling us we need to get together. We've gone over this a couple times now. We've been tagged in each other's stuff on Facebook. Several people, I think like 4 or 5 people have been like, dude, you got to meet Josh. So finally, we are here. And I appreciate you coming out for the workout the other day, too. I wanted to ask you to kick it off.
Yeah.
How was that workout? Because I was trying to pull you out of your comfort zone, trying something new.
Yeah, it was good. I had a lot of fun doing. I think most of that stuff I'd never done before. Maybe plyos back in like college.
So you don't do a lot of plyos right now?
Not like the different like jumping, especially like that hamstring one.
Hamstring one, which one?
Where you like slap your leg down.
Oh, yes, yeah, the
like
speed skips.
Yeah,
speed skips. Yeah.
That's what I mean by plyo.
Yep.
Yeah. Not a ton of that. I mean, we'll do some of the skips and stuff, but
you guys do box jumps in CrossFit because you're a CrossFit guy. For anyone that's listening,
yeah. Whenever I hear that, I'm always like, I do like CrossFit a lot.
I mean, that's what you do for working out. So you're a CrossFit guy. Do you not like saying that?
I don't know. Yeah, I feel like there's a.
I know exactly where you're going with it because like I kind of use it for that. You know? Like if I'm like joking with someone, be like, dude, you do CrossFit or something, like what's going on?
Just like to get right to it. I feel like CrossFit has a great system of like intensity and like supporting that intensity as an athlete. And I feel like for me that's a great tool. Because I've tried to go the route where I program for myself.
It's tough.
It's tough. And so then you try and follow like there's tons of different apps and stuff that have different programs and stuff you can follow, and none of them quite can get me what I want like CrossFit can.
Well, the sense of community in CrossFit is huge.
Yeah.
It was much, much bigger too, which is it's died down.
Right.
I'd say in the past couple of years, but the community is awesome. And I know I like to tell this story and it's kind of why I don't like CrossFit. I have nothing necessarily against people who do CrossFit, but my issue stems from my couple experiences. So this is when I was deadlifting close to 700 pounds. Okay. And my uncle, he was really into this CrossFit. So we're like, every now and then we would meet together. We'd go do CrossFit and we'd eat, and then we'd go to Lifetime and we'd hit the sauna. And it was just like a full day of like activities with my uncle.
Cool.
And not a lot of people in my family bond with fitness the way him and I do. So we go to do CrossFit. And again, this is when I was deadlifting close to 700 pounds. And I'm going to butcher the numbers, but the programming was for the day, it was like X percentage of your max for reps. And I was like, that is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I was like, so I got to put on this much weight? And he's like, well, yeah, if that's your real percentage. I was like, so you think I'm lying? Like that's a lot of weight for like, it was like 6-7 rounds or something like that.
Yeah.
And then that was like, I never really liked it because it was Olympic lifting at a pace. Yeah. And Olympic lifting is so technical.
Yeah.
So once I had that experience, I kind of dug into like the CrossFit certifications more, and it is just a weekend of $1,000 and you are CrossFit certified. It's like 100% success rate getting your certification. They go through, they run you through, and then they give you your cert, and boom, you're certified in a weekend. Versus, like people with through NSCA and NASM, like you can get courses through it and stuff like that. There's not really like a CrossFit course, at least at the time. Maybe it's different.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I know then it was like pay $1,000, show up on the weekend, and you're certified. So that was kind of my issue with it. And just, in the back of my head, I'm like, there's got to be so many injuries. And sure enough, there's a lot of injuries in CrossFit when you look into it. Yeah.
And that's my whole thing is like, and we talked about this a little bit before. Like, I don't want to defend CrossFit. It's worked great for me, but I think it's like a lot of things. I think that it's easy to kind of point the finger at that because it is, and a lot of people are not used to that amount of intensity. And I would say like, if you've got near your 700 pound deadlift, you're probably an outlier for what the program is designed to do. Like that's not a good, you know what I'm saying? Like you're like, what, 450 for
Yeah,
like
it
21
was
reps or something.
it was over 400 pounds.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not gonna do that. I ended up doing 315.
Yeah,
I was just like, I'm just gonna be
even
smart.
that still can jack you up, right?
Right.
So
And
yeah,
the cookie cutter is kind of what I didn't like.
Yeah,
It's like, okay, everyone's gonna do this percentage.
yeah, for sure.
And I didn't like that. And I don't. This is just one person, you
Right.
know, in CrossFit. I know there are good CrossFit people.
Yeah.
I've talked to them.
Yeah.
Where they're like, yeah, you know, like some of the stuff's like crazy. Like doing snatches for time.
Yeah.
Doing hang cleans for time. It gets sloppy and people get hurt.
Yep.
Especially when you add box jumps. Like, look, type in gym fail.
I know the box.
And what do you
jump
see?
stuff
It's
is like,
all box gyms. It's all CrossFit box jumps and like
Yeah.
people folding backwards and forwards, like with barbells over their head.
Yeah.
The craziest ones I see is like the snatch, and then they just fail and it goes and they fold over and they're
yeah.
It's tough to watch those.
Yeah, and that's like I haven't seen any of that stuff. I've seen people like snap their Achilles at a competition on box jump, like they're rebounding, you know, they're jumping down and back up.
Trying to get right back up. Yeah.
And I've seen
You've seen that?
yeah, we were
It's like a rubber band. Like
yeah, it was like he would look like a fruit roll up. Like it was just like a it was like bunched up.
I saw it on a chest muscle one time.
Yeah, it's not. And
Just
they were
like
like
roll up
he
this
was like
way.
I think he wanted to keep competing. We're like because we were there as chiropractors, like screening for the office he had just graduated for, and so we were working for this other office, and we're like, yeah, you need to go like get that. That's torn. You can't.
Yeah.
Like
You're done, dude.
Yeah, you can't do anything right now. You need to go figure that out.
I think that speaks for the people in CrossFit and that community. I do love because whenever we would go together, me and my uncle, they were open arms. They
Right.
were motivating. They were
Yes.
coaching. They were very good at that and creating that atmosphere and that time. And you could tell the community was very strong. Mm-hmm. And I like that.
Yeah, and that's that's what I love about it is that appeals to and that supports the like I believe, and I guess you I'm sure you can speak on this much better than I can, but when you have intensity and we have consistency, you mix those things over time, you're gonna get great results. You know, and it's
Even if it's a little sloppy programming, you know.
right, but like I feel like there's because I see this all the time too with Western medicine, and it's like we're so quick to judge. And I'm not like a big medicine guy. I'm a chiropractor, right?
No, but they're correlated deeply.
Right. And so you're like, it's so easy to be like, oh, it's the Western medicine system is broken. And it's like, well, maybe though, like doctors wouldn't be having to give sloppy care if they didn't have to take care of 80 people in a day who like have drastic lifestyle changes to all address. Like there's not physically enough time. But I would argue that that's also on the individual, the patient who's that sick. Like you can't say that we don't know that like McDonald's and smoking is bad for you. That if you would go for a walk or a run, like it would help you. You know what I'm saying?
God,
So-
whoever said we were brothers, they are right. But I post about this shit all the time, man. And every time I drive past that stupid ass McDonald's in McHenry, it is 10 cars deep.
And then I'm like, they have to know.
They have to know. Of course they know. It's like when someone's like, well, what do I eat? I'm like, you tell me.
Yeah.
And they do it every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, chicken and vegetables and rice. I'm like, boom, you're done.
Right. So I'm saying like as like doing CrossFit, for example, I'm like, okay, so like today's workout was there was a strength portion and the actual workout was 2 rounds and you had 20 overhead squats, a 400-meter run, and you had to do it twice. And the prescription for the weight was you should be able to do this in 1, if not 2 sets max. They don't tell you what weight because that's going to be unique to you. So if you've got a 250-pound overhead squat, like maybe 135, I'm not even there. But I was like that, and so I talked to the coach, and I was like, I'm ballpark, what are you thinking? And so you kind of figure it out. It was a great workout. I mean, I'm like still kind of smoked from it. But yeah, I mean, that's where I think percentages can get, you can't really cross percentages because like, just because you have a high one doesn't mean that you can go, you know, like 20, 25 reps is going to still destroy you,
Oh, yeah.
you know? So you want to go on the light side, not 70% of my one.
Yeah, and like I said, I think there are a lot of CrossFit coaches out there that will modify a lot of that for you.
Yeah.
Where, you know, on the flip side, there are some that they go with that cookie cutter. They all these CrossFit workouts got names like
Yeah.
the Lisa or the
Yeah.
the whatever. And
Yeah.
it's just like, this is what you're doing today. It's like, holy shit, this is for like the CrossFit games.
Yeah.
Like, why are you making a 45-year-old woman do that?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I like it for myself.
Well, yeah. And I mean, I think what I'm getting from you is you like the community and the push.
Yeah, I love the push.
Yeah.
Because it's condensed. I mean, I have a lot going on, in other areas of my life. So I like that I can get in and get out and still, I like the idea of progress. I like the idea that, when I can't do this anymore, looking back and just being proud of myself and setting a role model for my kids, for my patients. I'm big on like just the idea of congruency, right? Like, so if it lines up with the other ideas in my life, then it's more power. And I think of like a back squat, for example, right? So we're talking squats before we started shooting, right? And so I think like, okay, so if your knees start caving, your chest starts caving, like these are all power leaks. So your squat, your max number is going to suffer. But if I can line up like, make sure I like say this the right way, my knees are lined up, my shoulders tight, my core is braced, everything is just like perfect dialed in, my number is going to be that much more efficient. And so I think that applies to everything in our life, though. Like if it doesn't fit that model, that's the McDonald's for us. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, I like that. Again, I joke because I'm like, oh, you're a CrossFit guy. But
Yeah.
And I didn't mean that in that sense when I said it's you.
Yeah.
You do CrossFit and you're a guy.
Yeah. No, I guess I'm sensitive about it, I guess.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because I've said it to you a couple of times. You're kind of like,
Yeah.
No,
because I love getting in there and just like doing curls and bench and stuff too. And there's like, I mean, at the end of the day, yeah, you want to function good, but who doesn't want to look good too? Like, I like that. I want my wife to like what I look like.
Exactly.
So like, yeah.
Toxic. You're a toxic man right now. You're trying to get bigger muscles.
I heard that.
Oh, jeez.
I know.
Jeez. But anyways, were you sore from our workout?
No.
Yeah. No, I didn't think you would be.
Yeah.
I thought maybe you'd be like a little tight with like hip flexors, maybe hamstrings, just because of the quick release stuff we were doing.
Yeah. No, I was like, I feel like because part of it was things that I didn't know how to do and I was kind of learning through it. I almost wish I could go back and go like, okay, like the landmine press, like load up the weight on there and just really see what you can get after with that explosive, like.
Yeah. And that
pop.
explosive stuff, it's not something that's going to like leave you stupid sore. And Alex can attest to this because he's straight up switched from like powerlifting to like TNT programming.
Okay.
It's more so going to be like a neurological response, like a CNS response, where like you're like fatigued, but you're not like, oh, my shoulders are so sore, my glutes are so sore, my low back is so. That's not really like the athletic style, right? You're more so trying to attack that central nervous system and be able to efficiently move fast.
Yeah,
especially we were doing our power phase, so
was that the back end of it?
Yeah. I mean, everything we were doing was pretty much for speed, control.
Yeah. And I like that. I mean, I think, have you heard that stat about sprinting? Like,
yeah, it's like if you're over 30, it's like, or I don't know. It was viral for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like 99% of people don't sprint after age 30.
Yeah, something like that. And I like the idea of
being that 1%.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too, man. It's literally why I go run hills still, and it's why I'll go run a mile random. It's why I get up at 4 a.m. sometimes, and I'm just like, you know what? No one else is up.
Yeah.
I like that feeling.
Yeah, for sure.
And that's something that motivates me, is knowing that no other, with the screaming babies and puppies and being up 3 times, like no one else is going to get up at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it.
I like the idea of, 20, 30 years from now when my kids are grown, somebody would be like, I used to lift with your dad. He did one day, and telling a story about something stupid that you're doing. Not stupid in a good way.
Yeah.
Pushing some numbers.
Yeah, I kept some video for my boys because I'm not going to be deadlifting 700 anymore. I'm not going to be doing anything crazy like that. So I took, unfortunately, I don't have the 700 on video, of course, but I've got like 650 and different numbers and me jumping like a 36-inch vertical just so I can be like,
see what I did?
See, I did this. Like I know I'm telling you to do it, but I did it.
Yeah.
I may not be as capable as you in this young age, but I freaking did it, dude. So I think I called the album like Glory Days.
No, it's appropriate, right? That's
yeah.
good.
It's the Glory Days. It's when I felt like you can just hang out till midnight, eat cookies and pizza, wake up, and you just feel like $1 million. It's like, can't do that now.
Yeah.
One thing falls out of whack now. How old are you again?
38.
Yeah, so you're about to be 40.
I know, it's coming up.
How does that feel? Are you one of those age is just a number guys?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like I do notice if I do the wrong things more. I'll say that much. Like sleep, like if I get 5 to 6 hours sleep, my function is gonna suffer.
Big time.
You know, 15 years ago, that was you'd be like, yeah, I'm tired, and then you get past it.
Yeah, you
you're
just
good.
take an extra scoop of coffee, you know, and you're good.
Yep. So I mean, like that with food, same thing. You know, more just how it makes me feel, energy levels, mood. You eat garbage now, and it's like you notice it for sure. So we try to be, pretty consistent with what we do and eat and stuff because it's important. And again,
Well,
back
you're
to
in
the
that
model.
freaking awesome house, dude. The one that I almost got it.
Yeah,
Yeah, we
yeah,
don't need to say your address or anything.
Yeah.
But you got nice plot of land. You said
Yeah.
you got chickens.
yeah. Chickens. We have horses.
You have horses?
Yeah, we have horses, and we have cows right now too, which is like, it's just this whole stupid thing. It's we thought it'd be cool to do like raw milk, and so
I am down to help you with this if you need some help.
I mean, we're at the point now where do we want to go into like the whole cow ordeal? We're like learning how to milk a cow, but we have her calf as well. That's how you have to start milking them when they have a calf. Otherwise, there's no milk
otherwise they
production.
won't produce.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so every night there's been a thing where like I built this little like lean-to barn, basically. It's like a stall. It's like a stall. Because when we first got the calf too, she was a month old. So she's basically like the size of my pit bull. She's like 40, 50 pounds.
Yeah.
She's tiny, super cute. But she kept, like at first we were like, how are we going to do this? Because she's just sucking her mom dry. And then we're like, okay, we're going to have to lock her up at night. So she was just yelling. The cows are yelling. Is this whole thing. Yeah. And then, so then a night ago, I was like, all right, I'm done with this.
My wife would kill me, dude.
We're not like, why do we have 3 cows if we're just like, they're just our pets? Like this is silly. So like, that's it. We're just going to lock her up. We did through the night, and we go out there to milk her, to milk the mom. And we went around the corner, and the calf pops her head out like she'd gotten out again. I was like, you little stinker.
This is so funny.
And then I was like, all right, so because cows, like have you been around cows?
I've been around cows at a like really young age. It was the wildest thing I've ever seen.
They're really smart.
It was the wildest thing I've ever seen. So my buddy Daniel Carpenter, I went to visit him after my last year, the only spring break I really ever went on. And we came back. I stayed with him for a couple of days, and he's got a big plot of land. He does the beans, he does the cattle, everything.
Okay.
And he showed me this whole like loop of like baby cows, basically, like really young cows.
Yeah.
And they were like fucking dogs.
Yeah, they are.
It was so weird, dude. I
Yeah.
was like, I've never seen a cow move more than like moo.
Yeah,
like,
you don't think
and it
it.
was like,
I know.
he's like, you could play with them. I was like, I am not playing with my food, dude.
We have a big. Well, the third cow is she was our first cow, and the backstory to that was basically like our neighbor also has cows, and cows are such herd animals. If you just have one, they try to break out a lot and stuff. So we got a companion cow who also had a baby. Idea is we'll keep a baby, and maybe we'll sell the mom and the baby once our third cow has her baby. She's pregnant right now, but she is like a full.
This is a whole thing, man.
It's a whole thing.
Who is doing all this farm
Yeah,
activity?
that's what I mean. We have a lot going on. So that's us. We do
Oh
it
my
all.
God, dude.
Yeah, we got bees too. Bees,
Bee,
veggie
that's
garden. Yeah, we got chickens, ducks. We had 8 guinea
What's the
hens.
point of a duck?
We're down to 1. They do
Duck
eggs
egg?
too. Yeah, duck eggs. We only have 4. We have three duck hens and a drake, like a duck rooster.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. So last night I actually used I like put a lock on the stall door so she couldn't like wiggle it enough to open it. And so we finally had like a full like udder to work with this morning. And it was just down to us. Like I suck at milking, so I think we bit the bullet and bought. You can get like a little machine that'll do it for you. So
And
it'll come in a couple days.
oh,
The machine,
okay,
yeah,
I got you.
We got like this much milk.
Oh, got it.
You know, and you're out there for like 20 minutes, and your hand gets sore, and you're like, I suck at this.
Let's get the machine.
Yeah, let's get the machine.
Well, it's awesome. That's like a little goal of mine. We had chickens, and then we're switching up our house situation. So took them all to the grave the other day. They're sitting in the freezer.
Yeah, freezer camp. That's like
freezer camp. Yep. So anyway, I don't even think we said it yet, but your business is Crystal Lake
Family Wellness.
Family Wellness.
Yep,
Okay.
Crystal Lake Family Wellness.
For some reason, I want to say Family Health and Wellness. Just Family Wellness.
Yeah. Yep.
Where are you located at?
So we're right, like everybody knows where Portillo's is. We're right across the street from Portillo's in Crystal Lake. So, right on 14 there.
Okay, by like Chuck E. Cheese?
Yep.
Oh,
Same
okay.
plaza. Yep.
Got it. Okay. So what is chiropractic? I know we talked about it the other day, but to you, and it does seem like the definition sort of changes among chiropractors.
Yeah, for sure. You'll get people who are doing all sorts of stuff and people who are more just like,
Let me adjust you.
Yeah, and that's me. That's people want to talk about. I think we were talking about this a little bit on the workout. Like people want to talk about stretching and exercises and stuff. And it's like, I mean, I understand some of that stuff, but that's not
your
not
scope
how I
of
can
practice.
best serve you. Yeah, like
Well, it's also, you have to draw a line with how much work you're going to do per each patient client.
yeah,
You have to draw a line.
Right.
Like there are clients who, you know, you kind of give them a little taste and then they won't leave you alone. It's like, oh, well, you helped me with one meal plan. Can you make me a full meal plan now?
right.
It's like, no, not my scope of practice. I'm happy to give you tips and tricks,
Yeah,
but I don't want this to keep going. I don't want you to text me 10 times a day. Is this a good meal?
right. We had the first couple of years in practice, I have, and I still see them to this day, but it was a mom and her daughter, and the mom's in her 80s, daughter's like 50 something. And they value chiropractic. They value getting their adjustments so much that when their husband, who's now deceased, he was in hospice, like on his deathbed, they were still getting adjusted. And I was like,
Oh my God.
I am not going to waste a second of this person's time. So then it got me thinking about like time and like, what am I doing per service, right? And I'm like, because what's the difference of like moments we have now versus on the, our last final moments? There's really not a difference. They all stack in different, it's just the order, right? And so I was like, well, then if I'm blabbing to somebody about like the football game or the weather or something that's like not really relevant and they're waiting for me while their loved one's on their deathbed and they're here to see me, I'm like, that's so disrespectful. So when people want to talk about like things that aren't really what I feel can help them the best, it's kind of like we were saying, like, Steve from TNT is a great guy. He could help you more in that direction. Or even I've said like, there's, you want to look at like posterior chain stretches or like rear delt stuff. Just search rear delt on YouTube. There's going to be a ton of great stuff out there.
It's a lazy answer, but it's a good answer.
Yeah, but it's like, there's not really, like we were saying, there's not really an excuse for not knowing. Everybody's got a smartphone.
I know. You have a mega computer.
Yeah.
Imagine if you went back. I was thinking about this the other day. Imagine if you went back in time, like someone who just built like the 1992 computer.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, check this out. And you hand him a phone.
I know.
He's like,
I remember being like,
what is this?
like, you're like, where are the buttons? I don't get it. Like,
Did you have, we're moving. So we pulled out a bunch of old boxes and stuff. I still got my Nextel.
no, I didn't have.
Do you remember Nextel?
I do.
Alex, did you have any experience? No. The beep beep, it had the radio on it. Me and I'm pretty sure we're the only family in Crystal Lake to have it. And we would just beep beep, yo, Dad, come pick me up. Boop boop. Or if they didn't answer, you send an alert. It's the same thing as a phone call, but it's just walkie-talkie. It's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, we use that a ton. But the technology has just changed so much. And to your point, you have no excuse not to know the bare minimum, or at least to know that you can find the information yourself.
Yeah, I think probably the challenge would be like knowing what's good information, what's not good information. But and that's and like usually I'll say like if you have any questions, I'm happy to help. But
Right, kind of steer you.
yeah, because I'm not going to be going through like it would almost be irresponsible for me to be like do 3 sets of 10 of this and this and this when I'm not like there with you. Like I don't know what like
You don't know what you're doing. Well, you don't know what they're doing.
no. Yeah, and I mean chiropractors aren't personal trainers, so it's not.
Yeah, that scope of practice that we're talking about.
But back to your question. So my understanding of chiropractic, the way I teach it now, is we're basically assessing where is there the most stress on the spine, putting motion through it with the adjustment. Because motion takes stress off a joint, and what will happen. So like if you were to roll your ankle, the body's going to adapt to that, and the way it adapts is it immediately swells to limit the motion to protect it. The same thing happens to our body, but it doesn't have to be injury. It can just be repetitive motion, right? So like you sit on a wallet every day on your commute, your body starts to brace against that. 10, 15 years later, we have sciatica or disc issues or whatever. Obviously, that's like a severe case, and I believe in like full family practice. Like we adjust kids, babies, everybody.
That was a new one for me. The baby adjustments.
Yeah, birth trauma is like most people don't know this, and this is crazy. Like, and you can kind of tap and pull like stats from Western medicine, Harvard Medical. This was years ago. They published a study that 60 to 90 pounds of pressure go through a baby's neck through like a trauma-free birth. Like no
Trauma-free birth.
Yeah, no like extra like pulling and tugging or whatever. Just
Wow.
That's and so you have to think the scope of that too. Like 60 to 90 pounds to an 8-pound baby. That's like a 10x body weight. So let's say you're 200 pounds. What's 10x? How would that feel in your body?
Yeah, it wouldn't feel good. They're so malleable. Babies.
Yeah, they are. But the crazy thing is, have you heard the term neuroplasticity?
Yes.
So and this was like when I drew the line when I was like, every baby should get checked. So from birth to some say about 5, some say even up to about 7 years old, the rate of neuroplasticity is like crazy. It's something like 1 million neural connections form in the brain per second, 1 million. And so that's where you also hear the term pruning, where like things like neural tracks that aren't being used will fade away, right? But the wild thing is, and how chiropractic will play into that is that because the spine is the link between brain and body. So it's kind of like the glasses, it's the lens that our brain understands the world through. And so if there is, if I always see a smudge, like a glasses example, right? I always see a smudge over here. That's how I understand the world is. My brain literally wires itself around that, and so that's why it's such a sensitive age then. And you can see like the effects down the road. Like both my girls that are in school now, they haven't had a single sick day all year, and not like they're sick and we sent them in. Like they haven't been sick all year.
I think there are many, many factors to that.
Yeah, for sure.
But obviously, I think staying up to date on chiropractic is one of those ingredients.
Yeah,
for sure.
And because I'll say like the spine is really where it's how those joints move, but it cross sections with how our brain understands the neurological aspect, right? And so if the nervous system's clear, it can do its job, which is to adapt. That doesn't mean just like if it's hot or cold outside, but also like, what is my body? What different stresses am I being exposed to? What germs? Whatever. It's best able to adapt and kind of handle what life throws at it. So
right.
Yeah.
So an average meeting for you, how long does that usually take?
Like an established patient, I would say like 2 to 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's I feel like and we were talking about the other day again, I feel like a lot of chiropractic, they've taken this new role on as this holistic sort of doctor.
Yeah, like a wellness. Like that's why I don't like the name in our practice now, to be honest, because of that.
You don't like what name?
Like the wellness.
Oh, yeah.
Because it kind of like waters it down.
Right. Yeah. Instead of specifically we are chiropractic. We're the spine adjuster.
Yeah.
But I think, and it's really trendy to do, where you see all these chiropractors online and on social media, especially, they're trying to be something different. They're trying to add to their whatever. Let's take your blood pressure today. Oh, let me see your blood work. It's like, well, how are you qualified for that?
Like the weight loss stuff, again, it's like, and I know there's a need for it, but it's like, how does that get muddled in like weight loss, or like there's like a ton of supplement stuff too that gets muddled in, and it's like,
Oh yeah, every chiropractor is trying to sell supplements now.
Yeah.
Do you guys sell supplements?
so like I do, but only something that I take actively. Like I found use in turmeric. I found use in I like that element, like the salt
Yep.
stuff.
It's just an electrolyte drink.
Yeah. And
Super simple.
Super simple. And we have boxes out because there's not a lot of places you can get it. And I drink one like every day. And people love it. But like, I'm not going to be, it's not like a push at all. It's like, hey, like,
Here it is if you want it.
oh, you've had leg cramps? Like, check out electrolytes. Yeah, we have some samples up front if you like it. Feel free, kind of thing.
I just throw salt in my water.
Yeah, I mean, I do that too.
Yeah, just throw salt in water.
A little pinch or...
Yeah, a little pinch. I do like 3 pinches in this 64 ounces. And it seems to, I don't have any issues with cramping or anything like that.
Yeah, same. I feel like I recover well when I'm doing it. And
Right.
Yeah.
So how'd you get into chiropractic? Like what was the deciding factor for you?
Yeah. So like growing up, I thought I was going to be a medical doctor. There's like 8 MDs in my family. My mom's a nurse. And they're like my
That was
parents
like a family sort of pressure, or you wanted to do it?
No,
I can see how like
not
the
like
doctor life can be.
Yeah.
Oh, my dad's a doctor. I'm gonna be a doctor.
Yeah, it was kind of like that. It wasn't a direct pressure at all, but it was kind of like I want to do something like that. And but I mean, like definitely like holistic. Like we would eat organic food before it was like a popular thing too, and like know that like we wouldn't go to McDonald's, for example.
Well, organic food was just normal food 20 years ago.
Yeah, right.
Now we're shoved with pesticides, glyphosate, and all that extra crap.
Yeah.
So, when we were growing up, you didn't really need to buy organic. It was just, you're just buying food. You're just buying meat. You're buying eggs. And now it's like,
Yeah.
it's a buzzword now.
Yeah.
It's a selling point now.
Yeah. So I met my wife in undergrad in one of the classes for pre-med, but she was on, like, you're basically a biology major if you're going to do something
Right.
in that after. So we were in physics class together and became lab partners, and started doing homework together and dating and all this stuff. And I ended up
Homework.
Yeah, and then she wanted to be a chiropractor, and I didn't know what it was. And she basically like we graduate, and it was either try to go to medical school, which I was a horrible student in college, just like because I didn't have like didn't have a lot of passion other than like this is something I should do versus something I want to do.
Yeah, it's like reading that book that you really enjoy. You finish the book in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
You read something that's required.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this is taking me 2 years.
Yeah, totally. And so she was going to go to chiropractic school, so it was kind of like pick one or the other, and I chose to go with her. And so we moved out to Davenport, Iowa, and I was working at Super Target. Get up super early, go to the meat freezer, and just like slapping price tags on frozen steaks and stuff. And she's learning about chiropractic. She's in her first her first trimester. They go year round, so they do trimesters at Palmer in Davenport, Palmer College of Chiropractic. And she comes back from class each day, and she's like telling me about it and what she's learning. And I'm like, this is like, I didn't know that something like this existed. Like where you're learning anatomy and physiology, but you're learning a way of understanding life through the human body that it isn't about like looking at the symptoms. You're like, why are the symptoms happening? How, like, what is the condition that has led to this point? Because nobody's really talked about the nervous system a whole lot other than its connection between brain and body. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that sounds so cool. Because I'd always like puzzles and systems and like figuring out solutions. And always had like, I think when I was like 14 or 15, I first started getting more into like just like lifting weights and understanding like, different muscle attachment sites and way to contract the muscle. And, back before, you could look it up in like Instagram stuff now. There's like fitness stuff everywhere. This is like, you'd look up like a bodybuilding.com forum and like read like one of the Arnold stuff. Like this is, the internet I feel like was, I mean, it makes him sound old, but it was harder to find that stuff then. So I'd always had a passion for that stuff, but I basically just pulled the trigger. I was like, I have a degree in biology and I'm just you know, this isn't, I didn't dream of going and working at Target. Nothing against that. Like if that's what you do, but I wasn't happy doing that. And, yeah, I just, without even getting adjusted, I was like, I want to go be a chiropractor. So never even got adjusted until I was in school.
So did you have any ahas after being adjusted? You're like, oh, wow.
It was crazy. I remember I was like, whoa, especially when he adjusted my neck. I was like, wow, that was
my neck is
crazy.
My neck's a big one.
Yeah.
When I don't get adjusted for a while, like I could, even like right now, like I slept kind of funny.
Yeah, you feel it a little
My
bit.
neck feels, I'm going to have you adjust my neck before you go.
I remember, so we could walk, we were like 2 blocks away from the campus, our apartment. And I would remember, because they had like a student clinic where people who were learning how to adjust practice under a staff member. And I remember like those were my first getting adjusted there the first time. And I remember I would walk back to my apartment and it was just like, it was almost like when your windshield gets cleaned or something. Like everything was just like more crisp. The birds were more clear. The sun was a little brighter. I would just like feel happy. I was like, this is wonderful. I love this feeling. I didn't know it was a thing, but that was kind of my first like experience with that. Yeah.
I've described it to, because I push it and promote it. And I have relationships with a lot of chiropractors.
Yeah.
But I've always described it as it's like the difference between regular TV and HDTV.
Yeah.
It's like it's not going to be super dramatic. Well, maybe for some people it would.
Yeah.
Like I have seen, and I've done like little stuff. Like I've adjusted people's clavicles before, just because I know how, and I let them know, like, hey, I'm not a chiropractor. You know, I just kind of know how to do this. And we've seen some dramatic changes and differences that people kind of feel it like right away.
Yeah.
And it's just like, whoa. You know, whoa! Like that's kind of like the best description for it, honestly.
Yeah.
Especially if you've never been adjusted.
Yes.
It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and the spine, you're just like, oh shit. All right. And it cracks so freaking loud.
Yeah.
You're just like, okay. The fact that it did that too, it's like, oh, I needed that. I needed that big time.
That's like one of my favorite things about when I see people's response, and people could like, and I see this a lot with people who are just starting out care. So they're just for the most part, they're a mess. Usually people don't come in because they're just looking to continue being good.
Yeah, it usually
sadly.
takes something to send you to the doctor, to the chiropractor, to.
And so you'll see, and you first meet them, and they're kind of just like reserved and grumpy, and you know, and you adjust them. And like on the way out, and like our staff will tell us too, they're like, they were so happy on the way out. You see them as they're walking away, they're smiling and there's a brightness to them and they're more upright. And it's like, wow, that's like now this person is going out into the world like that. Like that's pretty cool. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of mental health that comes with chiropractic too. So, and you had said the posture thing.
Yeah.
A lot of things that are a lot of the times that I see like a upset kid or something or anything like that. I'm like, dude, pick yourself up.
Yeah.
As soon as you pick yourself up, you're going to feel better. Like if they walk in all hunched out. Like if you present yourself with more posture,
Yeah.
you're definitely going to become happier. And I do think there's just, you know, you're adjusting your spine. You know, it naturally happens when it comes with chiropractic.
Yeah, for sure. I think, and we were talking about this, we were talking about something else with, I can't remember exactly what it is, but you had said that it was powerful, that was something we were texting back and forth. And when we were working out, you said that was powerful and that you'd been thinking about that. And I think it had, I can't remember exactly what it was.
You had said
like the weight of, they're like caring for the health.
Yeah. You realized, oh God, I can't remember exactly how you said it, but basically you were like, you can't care more about, or the problem is that you tend to care more about people's health than they do.
Yes.
And that was huge for me. And I knew that.
Yeah.
But I never put it that way in my head.
Yeah.
And when I say that out loud and I realize that, I kind of water myself down. I take myself back because you can only put so much energy into someone.
Yeah.
And until it starts to become like a problem.
Yeah, and it's kind of like a like what is the thing? Like you can teach a man to fish or you can give him a fish. Like I'm letting them have training wheels by like
You can take
enabling
the
this.
horse to water. You can't force it to drink.
So like it's a disservice, and it not just that, but I find like when I'm if I were to practice in that way, it's a disservice and it's disrespectful also to all the other patients who I'm taking that much more of myself and investing it in a way that's not fair. To I don't know if that makes sense, but like I'm spreading it too thin, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I at the end of the day, I think like the accountability and the responsibility that our life comes from us, not what's given to us, it's such a big idea. And that's a principle in chiropractic that I love. Like healing comes from within. You remove, I'm not doing healing when I do the adjustment. I just put motion through the joint to take stress off so that brain and body can talk better. That allows the potential to heal. Just like I come to you, you tell me what weights to lift. I can lift. Doesn't mean I'm going to get stronger, but it allows the potential, the opportunity where like it can happen. But you're not going to say, I guarantee you'll have a 400-pound back squat if you do this.
Well, there's so many factors to it.
Yes, totally.
And 99% relies on you.
Yes.
Not me.
Right.
And I think people tend to put the weight on the coach, on the strength trainer, on the strength coach.
For sure.
Like, I don't know how often you run into that with chiropractic, but like, why aren't I better?
Yeah.
I've been adjusted 3 times. Why aren't I better?
That's what the very first time people come in, I always say, like, I'll be honest with you, I don't treat pain. And they usually kind of look at me like,
isn't that why I'm here?
Yeah, it's not why I'm here. Because, I mean, 99% of the time, people sadly do come again.
Because of pain.
Because of pain. And it takes that much for them to do something different, right? And they'll say, well, why am I here kind of thing? And I'm like, well, I want to address where the pain's coming from. Because symptoms are just your body's way of saying, hey, there's a dysfunction here. We need to address not just the smoke, not just the symptoms. If I wanted you to just feel better, we joke. My mentor had passed this on. That's why I'm kind of stealing from him. But it's like, if I just wanted you to feel better, I'd give you a shot of tequila and a bottle of muscle relaxer, send you on your way, and I'm a hero.
Which is big pharmaceuticals in a nutshell.
Yes. And it's like, it's like kind of silly. It's like, obviously that's not what I want. That's not why I'm here. So it's like, okay, we want to address where's the fire? Why is the smoke happening? Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm getting off track with that.
No, you're good. Yeah, you're good. No, I 100% agree. And it's the problem that I have with this pharmaceutical-based Western medicine that totally runs look at COVID. They injected almost an entire population of people with an experimental drug, which now 2 out of the 4 vaccines have been pulled from the market.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They're batting 50%, but 90% of the population got vaccinated with these.
Yeah.
But we're not allowed to say there might be some adverse reactions. Well, we are now. It's coming out now. Obviously they pulled the fucking drug off the market.
Yeah.
So now we could say it.
Right.
But I got banned from Facebook like 5 times when I was saying it years ago.
Yep.
And this is something I know we can relate to, even though we've never talked about it.
Yeah.
I know for a fact we can relate to, but it's just crazy to me. Have you seen what's the Hulu show with the drug? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Dope Sick. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Dope Sick. It's on Hulu, but it basically runs you through the pharmaceutical playbook on OxyContin.
Okay.
How they got OxyContin into the market, how they paid off the FDA, they wiggled their way in, and then they changed a little verbiage. It's like, it's exactly, we make a show about it.
Yeah.
But then when people correlate the two and they're like, well, they did this with OxyContin. Well, this is different. It's just different. I trust Pfizer. They haven't paid billions of dollars out. They just paid out 10,000 lawsuits.
Yeah.
For their drug, Zantac. It's a heartburn drug.
Okay.
And it's being, it has cancer-causing issues with it. They're paying out 10,000 lawsuits. This is the same company that just made your vaccine. Sorry, I'm running on a rant, but it drives me crazy.
Yeah.
It drives me crazy. And we're talking, because that's what they do. They treat the symptom, not what's causing the symptom.
Right. And you get like, what blows me away is like the lack of like critical thinking on the part of the individual. Like at the end of the day, it is experimental. So like, if I walked up to you and was like, hey, do you want to take like whatever's in my cup, I think it would be good for you. Will you drink this? And 90% of people said yes. Like that's kind of weird.
We don't know if it's going to work, but it may.
Yeah.
But it's really slimy because they said it was going to work.
Yeah.
So it's like that power,
Yeah,
that appeal to authority, that power to authority that people just like, yeah, I trust the government. But why?
I know.
Why do you trust the government? They're batting like zero. Literally.
Yeah.
Like they were wrong on like if you really dig deep, and the problem is you have to be willing to dig.
Yeah.
Like the Tuskegee experiment.
Yeah.
Where they willfully gave, I think, just black men, right, syphilis.
Yeah.
And then they gave them fake antibiotics.
Yeah.
That's insane. The government literally did that, everyone. You can look this up, but you have to be willing to look it up because it's not just gonna pop up on your feed because that kind of stuff is censored.
Yeah.
Just a little bit of digging, a little bit of research, and you will lose all trust, I promise. All trust. All trust. And if COVID wasn't enough, I don't know what to tell you. If COVID was not enough to see it, you gotta be freaking crazy.
That is like, I guess if there was a silver lining to that, there's a lot of people who have like woken up to that.
I think you're right.
Yeah, which is really cool. Like people who are now, they've never been to a chiropractor before, they're coming in getting adjusted. They're like, you start looking into it and it's everything. Like it's the self-care products, it's the like medicine for health kind of thing. It's vaccines. It's it literally in so many aspects of our culture. Yeah. And so these people are waking up, which is awesome. It's just a shame that it took that much to, and there's still a lot of people who are not aware or don't believe, I guess. I don't know.
I think it's just so much easier to not wake up and to not look and to just live with your head in the sand.
Well, because it is stressful.
It's so easy.
It is stressful. When you do your first dig, when you dive down your first rabbit hole, it's like, what? Okay, next page. Holy shit, next page. Oh my God. What?
Well, you realize everything you've done in your life was like built on sand and the whole thing falls over. And now you got to be like, okay, what do I think now?
Yeah.
Which sucks, but
Yeah.
that's why people don't do it, I think.
Yeah, it's like it's sort of comfortable in not knowing.
It sucks, but I feel like there's a once you kind of get past that, I think when you realize like, okay, that means that I can take my life in a direction that I want to, dude, that's so powerful. Like when again,
I was thinking that as you said it.
Yeah, like because it's like, okay, there's a burden of the responsibility of where I'm at with my health and life is on me.
Which a lot of people are completely like avoiding.
Yeah, they don't want to carry that weight, which is fair, especially if you're not like, if you don't know how to do that, that's like, that's too much. I'd rather just place my faith and trust in an external source. I'd rather outsource that power, right? But then we realize, dude, I can go in that direction. Like I'm going to be 40 and I feel great. That's pretty cool. And not that 40 is that old, but
40 is like the new 50.
Yeah.
Especially with all these old men like Tyson taking his HRT, and he looks great.
Oh, yeah. I saw him, all like the sparring clips and stuff.
He looks great.
He's like 6 punches in a second. It was like bam, 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 bam.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, he would never look like that 20 years ago without the testosterone. I'm sure he's injecting his butt.
Right.
So the difference between HRT and no HRT is it's big.
Yeah. I don't know that much about, it's like a big thing. Like, is that's like, TRT, testosterone?
Hormone replacement therapy or
Yeah.
TRT, testosterone replacement therapy. For men, it's just testosterone
And
replacement
that's
therapy.
like you see that in like wellness type like practices as well now, right? It's like that's like a thing. It's like TRT and
it's pushed big time.
yeah.
It's pushed big time. I think testosterone replacement therapy is like a Band-Aid that dudes are just slapping on.
I would agree.
So it's like, okay, well, I'm overweight. I stopped working out 6 years ago. I'm 40 years old. I'm definitely going to have low testosterone. Let's just take some testosterone. And it's kind of like this effect. It gives you this effect like, oh, that solved all my issues. It's like, no, it just kind of masked your other issues.
Yeah.
Like you're eating like shit. You're bloated all the time. Your diet's crap. You're one of those cars in McDonald's. Like, let's start there.
I wonder, and I don't have any like, you know, evidence to this, just more like speculation. But I feel like there could be a link between vasectomies and dropped T.
I don't know how there wouldn't be.
You start messing with something in nature, I feel like you're gonna. It's always comes back to cause and effect, right? So I'm like, how do you not? I don't know. I want to find some information about that to like say there is a link, but I feel like every time I've seen an instance like that, I feel like that has been a common thread.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I don't know how it wouldn't be.
Yeah.
I would never do that.
Yeah.
It's like someone just asked me because we got our pup, good old Chase. He's the bestest boy ever. But like, you're gonna fix him? I'm like, fuck no, I'm not gonna fix him.
Yeah, our shepherd's not fixed either.
Why would I why would I cut my boy's balls off? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
It's like, well, what about all like the, hormones and stuff? I'm like, yeah, the natural things that happen in your body. You want me to stop that process? I honestly think our last dog, Nike, he got super sick. He had a bunch of hip issues. He had some skin issues. And I would say it's because they fixed him as a puppy.
Yeah.
Like, what's your body going to do when it's missing that testosterone? So, and again, like, I don't know how a vasectomy is not going to affect that.
I don't know.
But I don't know. I mean, I'm not a doctor. So
I feel like there's a parallel, kind of similar, but like all the shit that's coming out about hormonal birth control now. It's like that could be kind of similar to vasectomy.
Right.
But I mean, obviously different
that
modes, but.
Yeah, that was one thing I remember early on before I was in chiropractic school. One of the first classes you're in that my wife was telling me about was that she talked about vaccines. I remember she came back from school one day and was like, when we have kids, like they're not getting vaccines. And I had grown up just like medical family. I was like, what are you? And I think this kind of speaking to your point too. This was like most people. I was like, what are you talking? Like I didn't think I wasn't anti that, but I was like, what are you talking about? That's just what you do. Why wouldn't you do that, right? And then, but
it's that conditioning, man.
It is conditioning. And then I want to say it's embryology, where you're learning about like fetal development and mom through pregnancy and these different hormonal cycles. There was a ton on that about hormonal birth control, and it just jacks up the entire process completely. And it's really sad because you'll see like 10, 15 years later, women having a really hard time, whether they can't get pregnant or just all different sorts of complications that are just not cool. And it's kind of like an elective thing that, teenage girls can get put on.
Well, it's normalized to, you should be on birth control at this age.
Right.
It's like, what?
For your skin.
Yeah, for your skin. Yeah, let's completely change the hormones in your body because you have some acne, which every child gets.
Yeah.
I took
Proactive. I had a little package that came in the mail, I remember.
Yeah. And you had to do the cotton ball, and then you had to do this and that. And But it's a sensitive subject for a lot of teenagers, and the social pressure with social media, I'm sure, doesn't help.
For sure.
But birth control, I think we're going to see some serious long-term effect. I think we're seeing it.
Yeah.
Like we're kind of touching on it.
Starting.
I think it's starting where, the
because
birth rate.
It's starting to be kind of mainstream. People are talking about this, where I just like see it casually on my Instagram feed. I'm like, I think there's some shit coming out sooner than later.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think it's going to be tied to birth control, but we've tied it. We've said it's so normal. It's so normal and it's fine. But it's not fine, because what birth control is doing, in layman's terms, it's tricking your body saying it's pregnant. Right? That's my understanding of it.
Yeah. I've seen a bunch of stuff too where it's like, it literally changes who you're attracted to.
Yeah.
And so then like women will come off birth control when they get married, and they're like, I don't like my husband anymore.
Who is this guy?
This guy's kind of a dweeb.
I want a guy with muscles now. Yeah, I mean, you can't think that's not going to have a crazy effect when it's your body thinks it's pregnant for some girls are on it since they're like 13 years old.
Yeah.
You start to try to get pregnant 15 years later.
Yeah, I know.
Of course you're going to have an issue. And everyone's like, we don't know what's going on. But let's start there. Let's start with the birth control that we basically prescribe to anyone and everyone at any time, at any age. It's like,
Well, I mean, being on any drug that long too.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy. I was just at the doctor, and the nurse like checking me in and doing blood pressure and stuff. She was like, "Wow, your record's so clean. You've never taken like any medications." I'm like, "Is that not normal? I'm 24. I'm fine."
Yeah.
But I guess it's not normal.
No, it's definitely not at this age. But even guys that I know are relatively healthy, like, oh yeah, I'm on blood pressure medicine. I'm like, why?
I was on. I was told that it runs in the family. It's genetic.
Which I do think to an extent
So before
that could be a thing.
Yeah. So before like ever getting chiropractic care, like through undergrad, I played on lacrosse and rugby, and our lacrosse team we were really bad. And we had a grad student as like our assistant coach, and he was just like, he hated that we sucked. So he just wanted to just condition us. Like, it was like, I don't care if your skills are bad. You're just going to be like, we're going to do runs and push-ups and sprints because you're just going to be in better shape. That was the thing. And so I remember going, and I had multiple concussions. So at one point I had to go to see a neurologist and get imaging done on my head. And that's not the point. But I remember they took my resting heart rate during my vitals, and it was like 42 or something. And they were like, that's not... But yet I had high blood pressure at the same time. And years later, when my wife was pregnant with our first child, she had I'm blanking on what's it called when you have high blood pressure during pregnancy. Is it preeclampsia or
hypertension? No,
yeah, there's like a word for it though. I thought
pre-hypertension or something, or preeclampsia or something like that. Or
yeah, I don't know. Her blood pressure was higher.
Yeah, I remember what you're talking about. Yeah.
And so I was just like, oh, I remember I used to have like they would call it like borderline, or like it was like pre-hypertension.
Yeah.
Whatever. And but at that point I'd been getting adjusted for years, and granted, I also wasn't eating like on the unlimited cafeteria meal plan in the college as well. And like, the
bulk food buy that the college does.
Yeah. It was like there's again, to your point, there's like multiple factors, but my blood pressure had normalized, and I wasn't in this like doing crazy workouts or anything anymore like that. So it was, I think there's more to that. And I think that, but again, like to that conditioning point too, and even to this day, like when I talk to my mom or dad, it's like, oh yeah, it runs in the family. Or how many patients say, oh,
everyone says that.
That's just genetic. It runs in the family.
Yeah. My favorite one's psoriasis. And they're like, oh, it runs in the family. I'm like, psoriasis? A skin issue runs in your family?
I've heard low back pain runs in the family.
That's a good one.
Yeah. There's a gene for that.
No, that is a problem that you need to address individually. Yeah, it's crazy. Here's another story for you. My cousin, I think he's officially a dentist now, but he texts me because he knows how I feel about all this, and he texts me. He's in his biology class. This was years ago, and he's like, "Hey, I got to show you this." And he sent me a screenshot of his biology book, and it's what to do when you have high blood pressure. What was number one? Take blood pressure medicine. Mm-hmm. That was number one. Number one is take blood pressure medicine. Oh, okay. We're not going to adjust diet.
We fixed it.
Yeah, it's fixed. We're good. We're not going to address diet. We're not going to address weight. We're not going to address even the stupid BMI. You're not even going to bring up BMI before you give someone some drugs. I mean, we know BMI is a complete joke. I'm obese on the BMI. Where are you at on that scale? You've got to be.
I mean, I'm over 25. Isn't 25 the...
I don't remember.
Like, it's bad to be over 25.
Something like that. Yeah.
Is it overweight then obese?
It's overweight, danger of obesity, and then obesity, or I don't know.
I think I'm just overweight. I'm like, you'd think I weigh more than I do. Maybe I'm only like 210. Yeah, but people tend to think I weigh more than that, but I don't.
Because you're lean.
Yeah,
lean guys look heavier.
Growing up, I was super skinny, so I had to work hard to put on the.
I was a beanpole. Yeah. I was like. At least compared to now, I was 210 leaving high school, and like being 6'3".
Yeah,
like that's not much.
Yeah.
So now I'm like I struggle to get below like 248 now.
I was like one of the shortest guys in my class, and then I hit a growth spurt on my 10th grade. I grew like 7 inches, and that brought me to about 6 foot. But so I was 6 foot, but I was still like 140. So like, yeah.
Just straw.
And that was when I was like, man, I gotta get some muscles or something. I gotta.
So that started sophomore year for you?
Yeah, I was like, I'm never gonna get a girlfriend if I can't, if I don't have any muscles.
That's true.
That's how high school guys think, right? Like,
It's true. Yeah. Well, everything reflects. And you're in high school, you're like, girls.
yeah,
Just girls.
Yeah,
Girls.
go to the gym.
And play games with the guys.
and I'm pretty hungry.
Yeah. I'm hungry. What is mom making for dinner today? Mom, meatloaf.
Yeah.
I wanted to get into the whole COVID thing, so this is kind of a good segue into that.
Sure.
What did you said? I guess you were kind of talking about before we started too. Did you get shut down?
No, we had so we were open the whole time. We were labeled like an essential business, so we could be open.
Just like Starbucks.
Yeah, sure. Just like, or like Walmart, but not like, the smaller store or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But because we did not wear masks, even though there was a mandate to do so, it's like, well, first of all, a mandate's not a law. So like, if you look into that, like it's not, I'm telling the truth. It's not a law. It wasn't passed. There wasn't a vote. It was just a mandate. So the health inspector or health department, I guess, came on multiple occasions. And the first time, I just told them the truth. I said, I don't get the same amount of oxygen when I wear this. It interferes with my ability to take care of my patients. So I'm not going to do it.
How'd they take that?
He was like, say no more. Say no more. I was like, cool. Anyway, the worst thing was,
Really?
it was like, yeah. And
It was that easy?
It was that easy. And I don't know if it was just like I had keyed on to like a certain like language in their mandate that it was like, because there was something in there that said like if it interferes with your ability to breathe, which like
Which it does.
It does. I mean, I would be okay, but I
course,
found it
yeah,
I found
of
it
course you would,
annoying. And to be honest with you, like looking at it was more like I don't believe in this. I don't want to do this. And so I'm just going to take a stand. And it was like the scariest part for me for that was like, if I'm not practicing, how am I supporting my family? But it was like at the end of the day, also, I want to do what was right.
So what did your customers say?
Some people didn't come in. Some people weren't comfortable with it. Some people thought it was really cool. We had new ones who thought it was really cool because there's not a lot of places that would do that.
Did you get any pissed off people?
Oh, yeah. We like when people would come in who had never been with us before, I had when my staff was scheduling them, they would be like, just so you are aware, we're not wearing masks in office. Because we would have people who would come in, they'd be like they would have their paperwork ready to come in and they'd like look around and be like people would get really upset. Like, I am not comfortable with this. And they would leave. And it was just like, it was wild that you were almost, I guess, like going against some of that conditioning. Like they were offended that I wasn't buying into this.
Well, what was so crazy to me was how it got so tightly glued to certain ideologies. And my refusal to wear a mask had nothing to do with the way I would vote.
Right. Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
There was it had nothing to do with it. It was common sense in my head. It was like, well, if you are scared and masks are so effective, you wearing a mask, you should be good.
Yeah.
That was my logic. And it was just so stupid. I didn't want to, I did one full day. It just because like it was like scary and like I don't know if I was grocery shopping, I was running errands, and I had this cows around my ear. I was like, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm not wearing this anymore.
Yeah,
and then they took away like the gaiters, the comfy cloth one. They don't allow that anymore.
Oh, like that one doesn't work. But but the blue one does.
Yeah, right. Yeah. The mask with the gap here. Oh, sorry, I just hit the mic. The gap here, and there's just gaps everywhere in the mask. That one works, but the cloth one that covers you nice and tight, that doesn't work. So it was just common sense for me. But then you were also racist and you were all these things and you were a grandma hater and you wanted to kill your grandma if you didn't wear a mask. These crazy ideologies that immediately got thrown on you. Well, it's like, no, really,
right.
It's your choice.
You don't care about people's health.
Yeah, you don't care about people's
Actually.
Yeah, it is like the complete opposite.
Yeah.
And there's been crazy claims. I'm sure it's all clickbait, but I've seen articles where mask wearing was connected to whatever health condition now, like breathing in that.
Oh, microparticle.
Yeah, breathing in the microplastics in the masks. That's been connected to like several health issues now. Supposedly, these clickbait articles. Who knows?
Yeah.
And I'm a total. I'm definitely one of those people that don't read full articles all the time. Like I'll just kind of read the title and move on.
Yeah.
So who knows how accurate those were? But that was the craziest part to me by far. Like, oh, so you're voting for Trump? Well, maybe, but that's not why I'm voting for Trump.
Right. Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you ran into that.
Yeah, I did, and I remember it's like as we're talking about it, it's coming back to me because I've kind of like
I
seems
know
like a long
it's,
time ago.
yeah, it's almost like kind of left me, and now it's
But I remember being like, actually, like by me giving my body more oxygen, my immune system is actually more efficient. So I'm actually doing you a favor by not, that was kind of my like thinking, and but like to go down that like critical thinking path is like. If you're bought into that conditioning, you just kind of look at me like
the cognitive dissonance that came from the pandemic was crazy.
Yeah, and it almost looking back at it though, it almost is like a conditioning for the for vaccines. For the COVID shot, it was like you buy into the masks. This is the next step.
Well, it was a carrot dangling too. It was like, hey. You don't want to wear that mask anymore because no one wanted to wear it.
Yeah.
You don't want to wear that anymore? Well, if you just get this, you're good.
Yeah, for sure.
And then it was literally happening where, oh, you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear your mask anymore.
Yeah.
Even though we quickly found out that it did not stop the spread. It did not stop you from getting COVID. Very quickly found it out. Even though Joe Biden on TV was like, if you get it, it's one and done. Come on, folks. It's one and done. And then they realized it wasn't one and done. Well, you're not gonna die now. You'll still get COVID, but you're not gonna die.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh well, you still might kind of get it, but you won't be hospitalized. And the field goal just kept moving and moving and moving. And at no point did these people who were stuck in the concrete with it, they didn't realize what was happening.
Yeah.
The cognitive dissonance was crazy.
It was
Just crazy. And the moral superiority that people found in their ignorance was so bizarre. Like I would have conversations with people like, well, people would stay at my house. Okay, I'm not going to name any names. They would come to my house, and I'd be like, well, here's why I think this, and I have stuff saved on my computer for this very reason. I'm like, well, let me show you. Like it's right. I can show you right downstairs. Like the mask is not doing anything. Like let me show you. Like I'm not listening to you.
Yeah.
What? I can show you in this will take 2 minutes. Let me show you this. It'll change your mind. And they wouldn't do it. They just wouldn't do it. I'm crazy in conspiracy, and I don't care about my health, and I want my grandma to die. That's all they see. So our health inspector stuff was actually pretty simple too. It's like they knew they couldn't do anything.
How so they came out to you guys?
Yeah, it actually turned out to be the trainer at the time called on us.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I had a trainer.
Staff?
I had a staff. He turned out to be a total mess. But he called the health department on us because he was had planning on going to start his own thing. So he wanted to like ruin me essentially.
Wow.
And they came in and they're like, yeah, you're fine.
Yeah.
He's like, you wearing a mask? I was like, I wear one when I'm close to someone.
Yeah.
Otherwise I keep my social distance.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, okay, cool. And he left.
Yeah, the vibe I got, maybe it was the same guy, but like they didn't really want to be doing this either. They were.
Well, I'm sure they ran into some serious
Yeah, it was like they were just put in a position, like they were caught between like I have to do this because I'm being told like I don't really know what I believe in this situation either, and it was just like this. Yeah, I don't know.
There had to be some serious confrontations.
Yeah,
there had to be.
Yeah, people got fired up.
I mean, I definitely did.
Yeah.
Did you run into any issues in like grocery stores and stuff? Like you were just no mask at all, right?
Yeah, but we didn't really go shopping. That was like when
were you doing Instacart or whatever?
Yeah, like Instacart blew up during that time. I remember the first time because I didn't even like want to deal with it because if I go somewhere most time too, I'm with my kids and it was like this thing where I don't want to like be in public and get in confrontation, and I was just like I'm gonna be in practice. It wasn't right away, but I think the gym I went to, they opened up too, like a couple months into that, which was awesome. And I remember we were talking about this right before we started rolling too. And I wanted to, it just reminded me, like one of the most valuable things I thought, because you were saying like sometimes gyms could be the first thing to get cut, right?
Yeah, from someone's expenses.
From someone's expenses, yeah. And just as a tangent, I was like, I remember like how hungry I was to just, because you can do push-ups and pull-ups and squats, and like I had some bands and some light weights, but I was like, I remember I was being toward the gym and we went to the squat racks. And I was like, oh, I can't. I remember I was talking to the owner and he was showing me around, and I was like, I can't wait to just do some heavy squats. Like it's been like 5 or 6 months, but since I put more like, I'd piggyback my kids, maybe have my wife on my back and do some air squats, but that's still like.
You went 5-6 months without going to a gym?
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It was.
I opened up at like 3 weeks.
Yeah, maybe it was more like 3 months. I think I want to say they opened in June or July, and it was like maybe March.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
Yeah,
I was pretty much open right away. On the outside perspective, I was closed, but
yeah, I should have met you sooner.
Yeah, I was wide open, and I just told everyone, I'd be like, hey, like this is what's happening. Mm-hmm. Everything is your choice.
Yeah.
Okay, if you feel sick, stay home. It's like total normal. Like that was always the normal thing.
Yeah.
If you feel sick, just stay home.
Yeah.
And even if you are a little sick, just cover your face and keep your distance and don't touch people's hands.
Mm-hmm. And not just that, but I feel like it's a like even when patients come in and they are sick, I'll tell them like I'm really not that worried about it. Like I'll wash my hands afterwards. You know, if you
I'm not gonna kiss you.
Yeah, but and like I'm not gonna share your drink. I'll wipe down the table if you've been throwing up. Like 'cause that's kind of just gross. Like I know you want stomach stuff.
Releasing, in bettering that pathway between the brain and the spine, that's going to help you heal faster.
Totally. And like that for our kids, it's if they are feeling under, that's one of the first things. Get them adjusted, send them to bed. But like just because we come in contact with a germ doesn't mean we're going to get sick. We only get sick if we fail to adapt to it, right? Just like you only hurt yourself lifting a weight if your body is not conditioned to lift the weight.
I think of it very similarly, like you're missing an opportunity for your body to build its immune system.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's one positive thing I could say about daycare.
Yeah.
Because man, did those children get exposed to everything under the sun. Mm-hmm. And I will say, knock on wood, they got some pretty strong immune systems now.
Nice.
So, like, I think it was Luke, that my youngest had a fever. And it seemed pretty hot, but it was gone midday.
Yeah.
I was like, that's awesome.
Did its job.
That did its job. Mm-hmm. That's another thing. How are you? What's your take on fevers?
So it's changed as I've grown as a parent, I guess. At first, I had the basic understanding like fever isn't the sickness, it's your body trying to kill the sickness. But then it was always like the number was lower than I thought that was safe. Like for instance, if it was like 102 or 103, that's really when you should intervene. But then like having gone through it, I'm like, well, I really feel like it's more like how is it, because it's not cookie cutter. It's like, how is the child? Are they able to drink water? Are they articulate? Are they like gonna pass out? Because there's those two. You can be at 105 and be like, I don't feel good. I need to just drink some water. Like, okay, and they're miserable, but they're okay. They're going through it. Their fever is just like burning it off, and they're better and they get better.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I've always thought like 102, 103 is like, whoa, we got to go. Like we should go to the ER. Like we should, but it's like you can get up to 104.
Yeah.
Even as a baby, and like obviously you got to start monitoring more and more when it gets up there.
Yeah.
But just let it do its thing. Mm-hmm. It's like when you have an injury and you have swelling in that. Let's say you get a knee injury and you got a bunch of swelling. The first thing people do is they throw ice on it. Well,
dude, I see that all the time. Or not even that, but like jumping in with like NSAIDs, like ibuprofen or Advil or whatever, and like
it's like you're just taking away your body's
inflammation.
natural function.
Yeah, inflammation is your body's. People don't know that inflammation is the first step in healing. Your body's literally trying to condense a ton of blood and supplies to that area to stabilize, but also to get the tissue doing better again. And so you'll wind up with these chronic conditions because you're never progressing past. Like it gets inflamed, take something for it. Inflamed, take something for it. So like healing's never getting past that. But again, I guess it comes back to like what's easier thing too, right? Like it's not comfortable.
It's easier to avoid the pain.
Yeah, it's easier to avoid the pain. I just don't want to be uncomfortable. And like,
yep. And it goes back to that OxyContin crap where pain is a great motivator to take drugs.
Yeah.
It's a great motivator to take drugs.
Pain does suck. Like I don't want to
100%.
belittle that at all. Like I want to be like, pain totally sucks. And there's nothing like, I think that everybody, like patients ask me like, when should I take ibuprofen? When should I take
When it's unbearable.
Whatever. Yeah. And I tell them like, that's a decision that you have to make yourself. Like for me personally, like knowing that if we suppress the inflammation, you're going to be in pain longer. It's going to take longer to heal. I'd rather bear it as much as I can without, because it is going to delay that. It is not going to, like, the more you throw into that mix, the harder you make it for your body to organize and progress through healing. But, there's a line, just like with fever. And that's really like, as a parent, you kind of have to establish that and be like, okay, we cross that 105, 106, maybe, like whatever it is. Like, and that's where I'd encourage you to just like, you look up, what does the literature say? I saw one by, I think it was Seattle, a hospital in Seattle had done research on that with regarding like when your brain can actually start getting affected, and it was closer to like 110.
Really?
Yeah, it was pretty high. It was higher than I thought. But
that's way higher than I would think too.
Yeah, but even still, you can see even like I would say 104, 105, you start to see the kid starts to be like not normal, and that's really when it's like, okay, if we go any further, we're jumping in. For us, that's kind of in that place. And most of the time, it's very short-lived when you get close to that, because their body's doing exactly what it needs to do. We joke too, and it would be like, because like our like medicine cabinet, I think we have like, a bottle of Motrin from like 4 years ago, and it's always like, is this expired? kind of thing. But like, like you almost are like, okay, we're at like 104.8, we're getting up there, kind of thing. Like, do we need to are we gonna have to threaten it with it? And then it'll like they peak, and then we're good.
Yeah,
it's just like threatening it, like putting it out in the universe, kind of thing.
Yep. No, we're the same way. We have like two things of like child's Motrin or whatever. I think we used it one time. Yeah. And even when we use it, we wouldn't even give the full serving. I'm like, just do a quarter serving.
Yeah, see what happens.
Give it a little support.
Yep.
And that was when we were starting to hit, that 104 or whatever, 103, 104.
Yeah.
Parenting. You got 3 kids?
Yeah, 3 kids. Yep.
So a popular question that I like to ask is like, what's like your parenting approach when it comes to like discipline and things like that? And are you a homeschool guy? I feel like you're a homeschool guy.
No, it's like on the table.
How old are they?
8, 5, and 2. Our 8-year-old though, our 8 and our 5-year-old go to Da Vinci Waldorf School in Wakanda. It's like a private school, and they're more like and that was one of the things that during COVID they developed an entirely outside curriculum. So kids were outside year round. They literally had like an outside classroom where they were learning and play. It's kind of similar to Montessori, like you were like
That's
learning
cool.
through play. But so because they still had that experience, I grew up starting at 7th grade. I went through 12th grade in a Waldorf school out in near Philly, where I grew up on the East Coast. So we're not homeschooled, but it has been kind of on the table. Like I feel like there's nobody better to raise our kids than, and this is not a slight against teachers, but like we as parents, we have the greatest interest in the development of our children, so it's kind of like on the table, but I don't know. We'd have to make some changes as far as like what we're doing to create time for that, and how to kind of navigate that with a curriculum. So we're teaching them, keeping up to speed. Our 8-year-old she loves school, and she has a ton of friends there, and it's
a great social aspect.
Yeah,
I can argue both. It's like daycare. Like I could argue both.
Yeah,
like daycare's great. He gets the interaction. They get the interaction that I think they definitely need. Mm-hmm. But it goes back to what you're saying, like the food that they feed them.
Yeah,
it's like I couldn't believe that was the breakfast. I walked in and it was Cheerios and a banana.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, how do I fix this? So, I mean, you got to pick your battles, right? So when he comes home, or on Fridays, we had steak, eggs.
Yeah.
We had,
saw that in your story.
Yeah. We had this huge meal. We had non-fat, organic Greek yogurt. It was awesome. And that's definitely a bonding time for me and my kids.
How old are you kids?
3 and 1.
3 and 1.
Yeah, 3 and 1.
2 boys?
2 boys.
I saw the swing one too. He was having a blast. You're swinging him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was
that
cool.
Giant swing we have.
Yeah.
I just, man, if I had that when I was little, I would have made a lot of bad decisions.
We had one of those. It was so fun.
Yeah,
Dad would
it's
throw the
so
baseball over the tree branch.
Oh, and try to
Yeah,
catch
to
it.
get the rope over.
Yep,
Oh,
yep,
And then we
yep.
just massive swing.
Yeah, huge swing in the backyard. Yeah, we're gonna miss that swing. Yeah, and to kind of keep going on that point, you never know what kind of weird ideologies are being pushed in these classrooms, especially in Illinois.
I know.
And this is a topic we've hit on a couple times in the podcast, where they're literally trying to teach sex ed to first graders.
Yeah.
It's just so bizarre.
I saw one on not in school, but it was like a thing that was on I think it was there's like some kids show on Netflix. It was like Jurassic something,
Oh, Jurassic World.
maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
And it was like the two women
Yes.
are becoming a relationship.
Yeah, and it was just like that's so like how do I
Random.
explain that to my 5-year-old? Even my 8-year-old. Like how do you
Well, how do you explain gender?
Yeah, like it's just I feel like I heard this example once where it's like the older we get, the heavier weight we can carry. And so some of these things and these decisions, like maybe it's not like the sex ed thing, it's not an appropriate weight for somebody to carry when they're just like learning the ways of the basic world. Why do we need to like go down that path? It's just unnecessary.
So, Alex, I think I sent a screenshot to you. I snuck into, hopefully this doesn't blow my cover. I snuck into a Facebook group, and it's called Maybe You Should Learn More About Trans People.
Okay.
Okay. A common thing that people like to do on this page is post their personal stories and ask questions. And I shit you not. Maybe I don't know if you have it up at all, Alex, but this particular post, it described, I think, an 8-year-old. And this lady was like, look, I want to be really supportive, but this is like the third time my 8-year-old has switched genders. And I'm not sure like when it's appropriate to say, well, maybe you need to just stay the same gender, or maybe you need to be this gender. Like, I want to be supportive. It's like, why do you think an 8-year-old is switching back and forth?
Mm-hmm.
Common sense says they don't know what the hell is going on.
Yeah.
They're 8.
They don't know what they're switching.
They have no idea, because we aren't defining what gender really is, which is penis and vagina, XY and XX chromosomes.
My guess would be they more so think they're like shifting their personality. I feel more this way today, you know?
Right, but
As
gender...
opposed to like, I'm a different gender today. It's like, I feel a little more like going to play outside in a tree today. And then
so
the
now I'm
next
a
day is
boy.
like, I want to sit inside and play with something inside. Like, I feel more like a girl now. That kind of thing.
Yeah, it's so...
It's like they don't grasp the full concept of what they're talking about.
I can't believe that parents are just letting them switch back and forth all willy-nilly. And then they ask, like, oh, is it appropriate? Is it appropriate for me to sit, like, have an opinion? Of course it is.
Mm-hmm.
Of course it is. But this was a real post, like a genuinely confused parent
Yeah.
asking if it's okay to step in and help with picking their gender.
Yeah, and I never really thought about that side of it, because I feel like, I mean, this is like a newer thing, right? Like maybe there would be an outlier where somebody was, you know, they had some issues, but it wasn't like a popular cultural like a push.
Mm-hmm.
And so as a parent, it's like, how do you, I mean, this is completely uncharted. Being a parent is uncharted because you're figuring it out as you go, right? You're like learning.
Yeah. Your 8-year-old is the first 8-year-old you've had.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, the beauty of it and the beauty of like the system of being a parent, and I think this is where like it's intelligent by design, meaning like when you first have a baby, like their needs are very simple, right? They need to be changed, they need to be fed, they need to be kept protected and safe and loved, and that's it. And then your abilities to raise them and parent, you level up as a parent as the child's needs level up. So it's a beautiful system, but like then you start mixing like some of this stuff. It's like this is completely like
Are you running into this at all?
No, not that I know of. But like it is it's a concern for sure, because I think, I mean, not even teenagers are confused as is. They're figuring out the world. Adults are confused as is. We talk about like they don't understand health. There's all these unknowns. They don't understand which stretches. People ask me what stretch to do. I'm like, well, I mean, if it's tight here, just
Just lean over a little bit.
lean over. Yeah, like make it longer. Like, just like move in a way that targets where it's tight.
Use common sense.
It's not like maybe just you've been doing that long enough where that's like it should be common sense. It's become common sense, but
Maybe.
I don't know.
Maybe. But so does your 8-year-old have any furry friends or have any furry classmates or anything?
No, I don't think so. But I've heard. I mean, I think that's a thing. And like, I have heard schools where like they were fighting about like having like a litter box or something.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
And that's like
It was like a joke, but it wasn't.
That's like it's not okay.
Yeah, so someone's like someone in that community had to be like, you know what? Maybe we should let a kid pretend to be a cat and shit in the open.
Yeah.
Maybe. We want to be accepting to this cat.
Yeah.
Like, is it possible that we should just let this person shit in a box?
Like in the corner?
In the corner?
Like as we're like learning.
And like literally use litter?
Yeah.
But then also educated as a child? It's like, what? There was actually someone.
Yeah.
So one of my buddies, Chris, he did a pretty big career switch, and he was doing his training for his new job, and this other guy was also doing training for the same job, and he's like, yeah, I quit. He was like an athletic director or higher up in a school, and he's like, the day I quit was the day I had to treat a kid like he was a frog.
Wow.
So this kid was ribbit. Like when you'd ask him a question, he'd say ribbit.
Yeah.
And he would hop down the hallways and stuff.
Yeah.
And this guy's like, I'm done. This is not the direction that I can go with it. My values don't align. So he quit and he switched jobs.
It's almost like, and this is, I mean, like my 2-year-old likes to be a dinosaur, but like, it's like as a parent, I feel like a big part of our job is to say, this is how, like, I don't know if
This is imagination.
This is imagination. This is reality. Like establishing this boundary is kind of like discipline. Like it provides structure and safety and trust to where you can build confidence and grow into who you are. Versus like this, just like anything goes. That's it's kind of like it's a little bit unsettling. It's weird. I hadn't thought of it.
It's super
like
weird.
Yeah,
it's super weird. And the post that I sent to Alex and the one I'm talking about, it's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary because, like, let's say we do go the public education route.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now I have to, 1, teach my son reality, and 2, prep him for weird people like this.
Yeah, that has been a conversation that we've had. Like, how do we have to double down on like what I believe is right and wrong? So because at some point, like, our kids are going to encounter
opposing views
and figure out for themselves too, which I want them to be able to have those tools, mm-hmm. right? It's just like maybe sooner than I would have thought.
I think so.
Yeah.
I really think so. The sooner the better, for sure. But it's also like, well, I'm going to teach these weird concepts to mm-hmm. my kids, and then
yeah,
it's confusing.
Yeah.
Like, well, okay, so you have a penis, son. You have a penis, but some people with penises can say they're a girl. Well, why? And he's in this why face.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Well, I don't even know what I would say.
Is this a conversation that you've had so far?
No, I haven't. I haven't. The only conversation is, and he actually kind of walked himself into this without me one day.
Okay.
But I was like, how do you know? Like, I can't remember who we were talking about, but he's like, he's a boy. I was like, how do you know he's a boy? He has a penis. This was Stevie, and he kind of walked himself into it because I would always, our big thing was, and it's maybe overly dramatic, but we always taught him, this is your penis and no one can touch it but you.
Mm-hmm.
And because then he can explain to us one day if something weird happened.
Yeah.
oh, well, so-and-so touched my penis. I'm like, okay, well, who do I have to go kill?
Yeah.
So we described what it was for at a young age, and then he put it together on his own. He's like, boys have this and girls have, he calls them pajamas. It's the best thing in the world.
Yeah.
I'll have to show you a video.
I love how kids
How do
say
you know,
mispronounce, like,
how do you know mama's a girl? She has a pajama.
yeah. Yeah.
It's the best. The innocence of a child is just so pure and beautiful, and it's what melts me
Yeah.
with my kids is the innocence. Like you get like a random hug, you're like, oh my god, it's the best.
First time, like, you hear them say, I love you. I love you so much. My 2-year-old says, I love you so much. I'm like,
I love you too.
yeah.
You're like holding back tears.
Yeah.
But I've had so many people tell me like how fast it goes, and I'm just trying my best to slow it down.
Yeah.
Do you have a like what are the ways that you are documenting? Do you have like a GoPro? Do you guys just use your iPhones and stuff?
Yeah, just iPhones. I found like, so growing up, and we still have picture albums. Like like at my mom's house, you can go through and see like all the the pictures that you develop, and you'd send to the whatever, and you get them put in like the hard picture. And I found that when we have done that in the past, and the kids like that better. Like when you have, because we have a couple of them that we've done.
As they should. I think they
yeah,
should.
it's so cool. So we need to do a better job of that. But that's the biggest thing. But I think you can go. I don't know where my wife did it, but just like going to your picture album, and you can go get them. You can get hundreds or thousands of pictures just printed off and just put them all in, which is super cool.
Yeah, we have I call it the vault on the computer where I just our GoPro, one of our GoPros is completely dedicated to home video.
Nice.
So every month, at the end of the month, I just throw it on the computer, and
It's awesome.
yeah, it's easily the best thing I've ever done. And I also journal to my kids.
Oh, it's super cool.
You should totally do that.
Yeah.
You should totally do that.
I was doing this for a little bit where I would do like, I would just leave like a random sticky note of like appreciation in the morning. And it would be like for instance, it would be like, Dorothy, yesterday you helped me clean up and that was awesome. Thank you so much for that. And I really liked that. I love you so much, Dad. Just like a little thing. And like we were cleaning out one of her drawers, and that was like a year and a half ago. And she's like, yeah, I have this one and this one. And then she's like, what? She can't read yet. She's turned 5, and she's like, what does it say?
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that is awesome. When you are disciplining, what's your route?
What do you mean?
So 8-year-olds talking smack. You a timeout guy?
Yeah.
At what point does it become a possible spanking scenario?
So I haven't spanked. I'm not like opposed, but it's like if there's a good cop and a bad cop, my wife's probably more the bad cop. I'm probably like the one who's like, I can get like more angry, but then I'm like, I'll bark, no bite kind of thing. But I do think, I mean,
is your 8-year-old boy, girl?
Girl. So girl, and then little one's boy.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I think that deeply changes your route too. For sure. Deeply.
It's more like probably like tone and just like yesterday we had a thing and she was talking back. She's talking back to her mom, and I was like, she's like, well, I was just answering her, and I was like, no, that's talking back. This is what like, but then I also believe like solution, right? Not just like this is wrong, but like, okay, Mom, I'm sorry. Try that. Like, because I think giving them like, this is what is right. This is the polite thing to do. This is the right way to behave and act versus just this is wrong. Like maybe not as helpful. That's how I feel. But.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. We had Sam Connors on, and Sam was like, sometimes you got to smack him in the mouth. And I was like, I can't say no. I can't argue. Like if they don't feel any type of threat at all, they eventually just start running the show. And I'm not saying I smack my child in the mouth.
Yeah.
But you have to show a little bit of something. It's like
through.
Like that's the nature and nurture, right? Like in a wolf pack, what happens? And I'm not saying we're a family of wolves. Steve thinks he's a wolf.
You could be.
Well, maybe I could. You know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Anyway, but there's an alpha. There's there's a hierarchy in a family.
Yeah.
And I think a big reason these kids are just changing genders and they're LGBTQ and then they're not. And then they run the show in the house.
Yeah.
Like, well, how does that make you feel, honey?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes your feelings don't really matter.
There was what was that? It's like changing the subject a little bit, but not. Where who's that NFL player? There's like a big thing at his graduation speech.
Kicker.
Yeah, the kicker. But
I didn't even like
Chiefs?
hear it.
Kansas City Chiefs,
I don't remember his name.
Devin something.
It's like a big deal right now.
Yeah, and he was very pro life in his speech.
He was pro life, and like, so I haven't listened to it. I haven't read it. I've just like read blips and comments about people being upset about it and people being supportive of it. But like, I do feel that there is a good, like, as a man, I feel I don't have as good natural innate ability to stay home and take care of my kids as my wife does.
I would agree.
I'm just not as good at it. I'm really bad at multitasking. I try and develop it. I try and overcome that.
I would 100% agree.
But she's naturally just better at it. It's just like it is what it is. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's like I believe in God, and I believe that we were created in that way to complement each other, and that's good. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
And I feel like when we lose that, like, you know, it can be very confusing. Lack of structure.
So can I ask you some tough questions?
Yeah.
So are you pro-life or pro-choice?
I am pro-life.
Okay. So the go-to question for people when being challenged with this is, say, a 15-year-old gets pregnant by rape. Mm-hmm. What do you do in that situation?
Like, where do I
fall?
Where do I fall?
Does she have to have that baby?
I don't know how to answer that. So it's, you know, it's
because that's kind of like the go-to, right? Like,
Yeah,
oh, well,
it is.
rape. So you force the child to have the baby?
Yeah, I don't know how to answer that because I do believe that I think that some things are beyond our comprehension, and I think that that falls under that realm. That's a tough one. You know?
It is tough.
Yeah,
it is tough, and it's kind of. I'm like you. I think I would fall into the pro-life category.
Yeah.
But I think in that situation, I'm not forcing a child to have a baby of their rapist.
Right.
You know, and I think to be fully pro-life, you have to be like all
100%.
pro-life, 100% pro-life, and that's like kind of like a case-by-case basis where I'm like, okay, well, am I really going to force this teenager to have a baby that
Right.
will remind her of her rapist every day?
Right.
That would be a really tough thing to say, at least from my perspective.
Yeah.
And, you know, maybe it was like the most innocent child in the world and she fell into this horrible scenario where a guy abducted her, whatever, you know. Case by case, very minuscule, minute possibility. But is it possible? Of course. Has it happened before? I'm pretty sure it has.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a question that comes up with it. Am I pro-life? Am I pro-choice? Morally, I'm pro-life. Logistically, I think I'm more pro-choice. Like if we forced every single child to be born, we would have an extra 5 million kids or whatever. Like, I don't know, maybe Alex can look it up. But if we forced all these kids into the government system, we would be overwhelmed. And who's paying for them?
Yeah. And you got, I mean, this is a whole nother like rabbit hole of
It's like a whole like, can of worms.
trafficking and like this stuff, which is like, you know, really, really bad.
But I'm also not going to pretend that a fetus is not a baby.
No, for sure. I mean, I've heard it literally, there's a spark of energy when sperm meets egg. Like literally there's like a
Well, it has to be.
divine intervention and it explodes. It's more than just like matter. There's a, what do you call it? Spirit, substance. There's
Soul.
Soul. Yes. And that's day one. That's moment of conception.
Yeah, the people that argue that are really bizarre.
That argue that,
Against it, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's not a life until... It's such an
just
arbitrary...
a clump of cells.
Yeah, it's a clump of cells until, what? I don't know, 5 months? And then
Totally
we can call it a
arbitrary.
baby.
It's totally arbitrary. They're like, well, just when
When I
it isn't.
feel like it.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like a self-protective like justification.
It's like saying, what's Bill Burr, the comedian? It's like, if I start baking a cake and then you take it out of the oven and smash it on the ground,
Yeah.
It was still going to be a cake,
Yes.
but you took it out and you smashed it.
Yeah.
So it can't be a cake anymore, but it was going to be a cake.
I mean, it was a cake. It just wasn't edible.
Yeah.
You
It
wouldn't
was
want
an underdeveloped cake.
It was, yeah. It was just a clump of sugar and flour and frosting.
A couple eggs.
a couple eggs.
A couple of eggs, yeah. Yeah, that's why I wanted to ask you that. It's always tough to like
Yeah.
navigate that specific scenario.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough.
We had our second, so all three of our kids were we wanted to have home births. Our first one didn't end up working out. Still wonderful, like everything was great. But our second one was probably like what pushed me the most into that way of looking at life and faith and God. And so basically, the midwife didn't get there in time, and there was a moment when my wife was having contractions, and her and I at home. And I remember I said a prayer because I was just scared, just like in that setting. Even is my wife going to be okay? Is my baby going to be okay? It's very
Did
scary.
she go no drugs?
Yeah, no drugs.
Oh, man.
She was
What a beast.
10 pounds, 15 ounces, almost 11-pound baby. Yep. Yeah. She's a beast. And
I just can't imagine that.
that's like part of her thing now is like empowering women to step into their power with that. In the way that she's done that through fitness, through chiropractic, through teaching them to be strong.
So she
in their
also a
bodies.
chiropractor?
Yeah, she's also a chiropractor. She's the reason I became a chiropractor. Even though she's back in the office now. She does like Monday and Wednesday mornings. But because she's been just at home more with kids. But she wanted to get back into it, and it's been awesome. But yeah, there was a moment I said a prayer, and I kid you not, so that was our second day that she was born. That was also the birthday of my great grandmother, who's no longer here, great grandma Rose. And so I said a prayer, and I kid you not, I felt just the room was suddenly full of presence. There's people, there's family there. But it was just her and I. And then the craziest thing was I started like coaching her through, and I was no like all-star husband going to like birth classes and like knowing what to do. I have an understanding of like physiology and birth through chiropractic school because it's part of understanding what's happening. But I'm not like certified in some like birth technique or doula or anything like this, right? But I start saying things to her, and I don't realize what I'm saying. And
You blacked out?
yeah, kind of, yeah. But then her water breaks, and I catch our daughter, and we're just like, we're crying, and it's like the most amazing thing. And my mom's a nurse midwife. So I FaceTime my mom. It's like, Mom, we had a baby. And my mom's at work and surrounded by her nurse friends. And they're like, what are you talking about? You had the baby, you know? And, like our midwife was on the way, but she was because Illinois doesn't have, at the time there wasn't a lot of local midwives. Our midwife was in Wisconsin, and so she's coming over, driving from Wisconsin, and my wife was like, "Yeah, what you were saying was like, that was amazing. You were so amazing." And I was like,
What did I say?
I don't know. I remember saying, like, I remember the idea of what I was saying was just like generally supportive. And like making sure that she was like I was talking power into her as opposed to like I don't know how to explain this. Like the week prior, maybe this will make some sense of it. The week prior, I was listening to a podcast, and it was about a like an ultra runner, but like she did triathlons that were like endurance races, and she had a whole crew. And the big thing with her crew was that like they would help keep her on track with hydration and nutrition. And rather than being like, you look like shit, you need to drink some water, being like, you're doing awesome, keep it up with this. Mm-hmm. Like, so you're speaking strength as opposed to like negativity, lack of. And so I remember that general theme, like saying how good she was doing. But like it wasn't like a thing where I was thinking of what words to say. It was just like, I started just like talking. It was pretty great. And so I went and adjusted patients the next day. And I just remember thinking like, I literally caught life with these hands. And now I'm going to just go like freaking, it's like, this is going to be amazing. Like these patients are going to know what hit them. But
That's crazy.
yeah. So that was that was like the moment where I was like, this is something like I believe in God, and I believe that there's stuff going on that we are more powerful than we give ourselves credit for. And I think you probably see that a lot too with, people's mindset and how they're lifting and how they operate. Like there's a whole level of power that people maybe don't want to reveal or don't know how to reveal. And then you can maybe like tap into that.
150%. One of my favorite things to do, it's like a little social experiment that I'll do. And I think Alex might be, I don't know, maybe a rat in this scenario or a victim in this scenario, where I'll let a kid max out.
Okay.
And I'll do very little.
Yeah.
I'll just say, yeah, you got to max today.
Yeah.
And I won't give any energy and I won't do anything with it. And we try to save all of our energy up to our 3-rep max.
Okay.
So I'll let them max out, and maybe they fail, maybe they get it, maybe it's easy. But depending on the scenario and how they did, I will now try to mentally coach them.
Okay.
Be like, hey, what'd you think of that weight before you were starting? He's like, well, I was kind of scared.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could tell. Okay, now I'm going to have you do the same exact thing, but I'm going to piss you off. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get you fucking riled up, little dude. Like, what pisses you off? Tell me right now. And that you can already see it in their eyes. Like,
The wheels are going and
yeah. I mean, school, like school pisses me off. This kid at school, I hate him. I was like, use it.
Yeah.
Use it. Get into it. Like, you are the man in this weight room. And it's way easier with boys, right?
Yeah.
I did it with Kaylin yesterday.
Yeah.
I pissed her off. And you could see it in her. Like, everyone's got this freaking demon in them. Yeah. And
oh, she goes crazy too.
Yeah.
If you fire her up, you're done.
well, she got quiet. She was like a quiet demon.
Yeah.
But I remember this one specifically with this kid. And I'm like, get pissed off, dude. Like, and I started like kind of, like hitting him. I'm like, get pissed off. Like, these are all my little brothers. Like, so if anyone wants to come on here and tell me I shouldn't be hitting my clients, I'm going to say, screw you. Come see what we do at the gym. And I start hitting him. I get him riled up. Dude, he did this so easily. Whereas prior, it was like shitting his pants a little bit. And then he does it again. And he's like, oh my God, that was so easy. I was like, it's all in your head, brother. And it was like this, like I just watched his mind go, oh my God, like I've been holding myself back so much in here. Mm-hmm. It's like, if you turn this on, this becomes 20% more.
Yeah.
Easy 20% more.
And I love that. Like, that's something that fitness, I feel like, has been so great for me, because it's you tap into that and you're like, where do I apply this? Where can I use this? And it, because as a parent, there are times when you're just like, I'm tired, I gotta do this, gotta do that. And then you're like, I'm good. I'm great.
Right. Yeah, there's something about working out where you like put yourself in some extreme and it's not just working out. Like, I think you could find it in a lot of places. Like, I like the cold tub.
Yeah.
You could find some extreme discomfort in the cold tub. I mean like extreme.
Breaking ice and just like,
dude, I went like 20 days straight of cold tubbing.
Yeah.
I was getting up at 4 a.m. I had to wake up, break my cold tub.
Yeah.
Every single
you were
morning.
just in a stock tank, right? Like outside. Yeah.
Yeah. The winter's the perfect time for it, because you don't know how to. You don't have to, it stays relatively bacteria free because it's so freaking cold. Mm-hmm. I'm getting in there clean, so it stays fine. And I just got to break the ice every morning. Dude, that is the hardest crap in the world. But you know what? I go throughout my day and I'm like, I feel so good.
Yeah.
I'm awake. I did something really hard. Now the rest of the day is cake.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people can find comfort in working out in that aspect, because you do this hard stuff, you make yourself extremely uncomfortable. Well, now these other regular uncomfortable situations are just situations. Mm-hmm. They're not uncomfortable situations. They're just situations.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people need to realize, look, like, no matter what time of life you are in, there's always going to be something shitty going on. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. There's always going to be a struggle. There's always going to be a problem. There's always going to be something happening in your life that's taking away from your energy and adding stress.
Yeah.
And the most happy people and the happiest people are the ones who learn how to live with it.
Yeah.
not without it. It's never going to go away.
Yeah.
So if you just sit here and consume yourself with these problems that are going on with your life, well, of course you're going to be unhappy. Mm-hmm. But realizing that, and this is a whole social media problem that I think, because you watch social media, it's just everybody's glitz and glamour.
You're right.
Nobody shares like their hemorrhoids. Nobody shares their toe fungus and their, no one shares any of that, but everyone's got something going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just went off on a little rant. Where we at, Alex?
Almost 2 hours.
Okay.
Hour 50 minutes.
I always end every podcast with what sort of advice, and we could talk just in general, but let's say 20-year-old Josh. What advice would you give yourself from now to 20-year-old Josh?
Probably. I mean, the biggest thing would probably be like being more open. Like, I don't know it all. Be open to asking for help and listening. I thought I was a lot smarter and then I had to go, you have to go through and figure out like, it's okay to ask for help and it's okay to learn. It's okay to not know it all. Cause I think I would have been able to go through some stuff easier if I had done that. And I still will make that mistake to this day sometimes. Like, I was trying to fix my lawnmower and like, there's like a way, it's a riding mower with a deck. And if you don't have it in park, the mechanism to take tension off the belt doesn't release. And I'm just like, how the fuck do normal people do this? Like, I feel like I'm pretty strong and I'm just like pulling, I have like ratchet straps out and I'm just like, and then, you go lay down on the floor in the garage to pull it from one angle, like, no, that's not working. Get up, do it again. And you're sweating and you're like dirty. And I was like, because I'm just trying to do it fast and efficient. I'm like, why don't I just put the stupid parking brake on? And I do it, and it was like, burp, and then the belt's loose. 45 minutes later. And just stuff like that. Like,
but, there's value in the way you did it.
Yeah.
There is a value.
I mean, I'm not going to forget that now.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's a value in the way you did, and taking something on by yourself is much more powerful than going to ask someone, which again, there's value in asking people too.
Right.
But
right.
Definitely doing something yourself, I think, is very empowering.
It is. And, I mean, there's things that it's just like, where do you want to leverage your time and your efforts, your energy? Like, I've come to realize that like, I may know a lot about working out, but I don't know as much about it as somebody else. So I'm good with outsourcing that to just be like, hey, I'm going to trust in this process and just do it.
Yeah.
I think lawnmowers might be
one of those lines that you
one
draw.
of those lines. I don't know about cow. Cow might be.
You could be drawing that line soon.
We might be. I want to see. So our really good cow is Clarabelle. I want to see how Clarabelle does with her baby, because she is like a dog. Like, you could literally milk her and not worry about getting kicked or anything. The cow. So the other two, Jen is the other mom, and then Penny's.
How many cows do you have?
3. And Jen.
These are all for milk.
Kind of, like.
So you're gonna
byproduct of, like, Penny's there because we had Jen who was pregnant who we could milk, so it was kind of like package deal. Mm-hmm. And Clarabelle needs a companion, but because Penny was also there, it was like,
right.
Yeah.
I gotta come see this fun estate of yours.
It's I mean, we're learning as we go, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And I'm sure it's a lot of fun in many different ways.
Yeah.
Like, it's got to be just crazy.
Learned how to ride. So I hadn't ridden a horse ever before. And so
how many horses do you have?
4.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
Dude, who takes care of these animals?
Yeah, I know you're crazy, but
your wife stays home quite a bit, you said?
Yeah. And it's like I always joke, like, patients are always like, "Oh, how was your weekend?" And it's like, I work harder in the weekend than I do when I'm taking care of people in the office during the week.
It's true. That's a lot of upkeep, man.
Yeah.
I
well,
had
it's
just
always-
chickens, and it was like every morning I had to do something.
Yep. Chickens.
And they're disgusting.
They are.
They're
They're
disgusting.
hilarious, but they're yeah. We're seeing if we can hatch some right now too. So it's always something. Yeah.
Well, I do envy it a little bit because I do want a little bit of that homestead action.
Yeah, it's fun. It's
But
just kind of seeing where.
It's just a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. But yeah, it's good to, like you said, it's good to take it on ourselves. But I think it's
For sure.
It's kind of figuring out where that line is and
Right.
what we want to do and what we want to delegate. And
But yeah, we'll get it wrap it up now. I know we're on a little bit of time constraint too, but dude, I really appreciate you coming on.
yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
I'm glad I got to know you, and I got to come get adjusted. Actually, do you mind adjusting my neck before you go?
Yeah, we can check it out.
Yeah, let's do that. But all right, yeah, thanks, Alex. Dude.